Welcome to Kaleidoscope. Let's talk.
The woman is celebrated and ridiculed, lauded and abused. But you can't deny the fact that resurgence, renewal and empowerment of women is happening right now. And that's exactly what celebrated artist Anoma Vijayawardena captures in her work, which took center stage at the Mercedes-Benz Fashion Week recently. But while that collection showcased women, step into the 23rd floor of cinnamon life and be embraced with her brilliant take on the Japanese art of kintsugi, embracing imperfection, which was exhibited at the Venice Biennale in 2019, just 1 month after the Easter attacks. And Anoma was the first Sri Lankan to showcase at a Venice Biennale. This showing narrates diversity, reconstruction and healing, poignant themes the artist explores continuously. I visited the Venice Biennale installation, which is now at Cinnamon Life, to discover more about what prompts the creativity behind Anoma's cutting-edge, thought-provoking contemporary collections. Anoma, I love what I'm seeing here, and this is what you showcased at the Venice Biennale in 2019. So I love seeing it here at Cinnamon Life for all to see. Now, kintsugi, which is what this is all about, embracing imperfections. Is that what you were doing here?
Embracing and not hiding, and healing through that acceptance of imperfection, as well as variety of diversity. So there's a diverse range of things going on, skills, poetry, music, different types of paintings. And I just wanted to show that actually that's something so diverse can still be unified. And I'm thinking of our country, of Muslims, Tamils, Sinhalese, all coming together and being one thing. So it's very much to do with now Gaza, all these issues.
So did this message resonate with those who came to Venice Biennale?
Well, absolutely. I mean, it was 2019 and it was called May You Live in Interesting Times, which is about turmoil and coming through it. So it was very much part of what they wanted as the theme. And of course, even then, everybody had just heard of the April bombings, Easter bombings went worldwide, and this was opened in May. And so, of course, they knew about Sri Lanka. Suddenly, a lot of people who never heard of Sri Lanka, I am sure, because 500,000 people visited this exhibition over 6 months. But they were very excited by it. And there's some amazing comments. And I mean, people made comments, I mean, I was obviously not there. But over that period of time, and it just shows that it actually resonated.
The installation per se is a combination of mirror installations, paintings, video and the book.
Yeah.
How did you bring this all together?
Well, it actually happened very slowly over a period of time, and it was 2014 when I started doing the paintings. Then Ramesh Gunasekara happened to be staying with me, but he looked at these and I said, you know, would you write a small paragraph about it, because after all he's a novelist. And he said, maybe, and then we forgot about it. And then maybe a few months later came this amazing set of 16 poems that actually works in the same way as kintsugi. The various pieces of writing that come together, which he explains very well in his video, how it's a sonnet that, so it's about deconstruction and reconstruction. So he's also done that in the poetry. And then I ended up in LA, and I was with Sharon, who was playing her music to me, and I was thinking, oh my God, and I said, So again, it all just happened very casually, you know, and she said, oh, let me hear it, and then she heard Ramesh, and then she got very excited and wrote this piece of music with Ramesh's words, Ramesh reading it. And then we used all that and then created the video from it. So it's had these various stages where everybody's input has changed it or added to it. And then because Ramesh's words so amazing, I thought, oh gosh, we need a book. So we did the book. So, you know, nothing was planned. Sort of planned, you know, but but I'm a bit like that with my work, that I have a plan. I have a lot of sketchbooks and a lot of writing and reading. And then when it starts to unravel, I just let it flow, and whoever comes, add to it or not, you know, so it has its own life. It takes over.
So the paintings came first and everything else thereafter.
Oh yeah. So I have never illustrated a piece of work, because people say, oh, because people assume always the writing comes first. So Ramya Chamale Jira Singh has also written for my work, and again, she looked at my paintings and then wrote. And so in fact, It's never kind of the other way, and it's not illustration. It's sort of working in tandem. It's everyone being creative together and trying to find that balance. So again, it's about diversity and finding some sort of unity within this complete contrast of things, of skills, of...
So let me go to what you showed at Mercedes-Benz Fashion Week some time ago. The theme was reflect, reframe, renew, but it was about women, the actual resurgence again of women. But you also said this exhibition was the first time you really concentrated on women. Why?
I think I've been thinking about women and for a long time, and I certainly was a feminist even, very many decades ago.
Early, yes.
Yeah, absolutely. So it's not that I wasn't thinking about them. And then when I actually had to put a video together for the panel discussion with Ramya, Chamli Jirasinghe and Rosanna Flemmer Caldera and Radhika Hettiarachha, all people working on issues to do with minorities and women. I was asked to do a video, and then I thought, oh, okay, of my paintings. And then there were 70 paintings with women in it over the years. So I suppose I was thinking about it, but this was the first time I was focusing on it. But I think I am in a state of shock, if you like, that maybe in the 80s, whatever, when I was a young woman, a young person, or 70s even, I thought women were free and we'd got there and we had equality and whatever. In 2024, we're still struggling. And it is, as I said, in Reflect, Reframe, Renew. Women, it's the best of times. People are being presidents, they're scientists, they're going to the moon, etc. And yet, it's also the worst of times. It's, as we know, in this area, it's a very, very difficult time for women. Rape, domestic violence, harassment, all this continues. And not only here, but also in Hollywood and everywhere. So, we've got Me Too protests. We have a big struggle ahead still, and just because a few of us can actually kind of have had the opportunity or the possibility to, get somewhere a little bit doesn't mean that most women do. As you know, in Afghanistan, women were free and able to wander around in miniskirts, right, in the 70s. And now they can't step out of their house without a male relative. They can't go to school. They can't work. So it seems Roe and Wade is going to be pulled back. Women in America will die because they're not going to be allowed abortions, and they're so ill, but doctors can't abort. They will die. So, it's a very crucial time for women.
You also said that transformation begins with crisis, or starts with crisis. How does this apply to in the global context for women?
When things get really troublesome or deep, hard, that's when when they always say, if it doesn't kill you, it makes you strong. So maybe there is that moment at which, it's so bad that you turn around and it changes. And I thought that moment had come maybe in 2012 with climate change, with Rio conference, etc., but it hasn't. It's just getting worse. So in fact, I don't know if people are being transformed, but perhaps one has to have a very hard knock. And it still doesn't work, but sometimes it does work.
So in 1974, your first piece of commissioned work was on the cover of Vogue. Now, looking at yourself from that time to what you have come and your work up to now, what can you say about yourself?
Actually, I think the work has changed enormously. And I think it's gone from pure aesthetic and fashion and fun of that. Actually, I think the work has changed enormously. And I think it's gone from pure aesthetic and fashion and fun of fashion and textiles, which is what my background was in, to issues of very hard activism, if you like, about climate change, about peace, reconciliation, diversity, unity, personal identity, gender issues, women. I'm in a panel discussion here, so I'll say it again. I won't call myself a victim or a survivor, but I have experienced domestic violence and sexual harassment. I've experienced it. So sometimes you can't talk about anything till 30 years later, but I'm talking about it now. And it's really, and all my work actually doesn't come from cerebral. People keep saying it's very cerebral. It is activist, it's cerebral, social conscience. but actually it comes from my emotions. It's my own fear, my own struggle, my own anxiety for the planet that fuels the work. They're very emotional pieces of work.
Do you think, in context, that art is a powerful form of getting people to think and getting people to realize what the era we live in?
Art is universal. It has a language that anyone understands, and therefore, in fact, it reaches also your heart. It's a heart-to-heart thing, and it's in the heart that change happens. So, you know, inshallah, maybe there is. It maybe even if it's just resonate, maybe even if it makes you just think. I mean, I can't. You know, it can't change policy. It can't change in the way that leaders of countries can change things. But I hope it does. I mean, who knows?
Anoma, what's next for you?
I get very easily bored. I like adventure, like you. So I have to adventure sometime. Mostly in my work, I adventure in the studio, if you like. So it's always doing something different, because the boredom means I don't want to be doing the same thing again. I want something that's a challenge. That zone apparently happens not when you're comfortable doing what you're doing, and not when it's so impossible that it's impossible to do it. It's that middle point where you're pushing yourself beyond, but it's not so beyond that it's impossible. So I'm reaching always for that zone.
Here's to more adventure and good luck.
Thank you.
Kaleidoscope is on YouTube, Facebook, Instagram and LinkedIn. And don't forget to subscribe, follow and like us for more.